4 ingredients. We are making a potato salad that is mostly pimento cheese. So we have our 4 ingredients here. I have a red-skinned potato, but you just want something that is waxy and creamy, sort of in middle of the road potato, not something starchy like a russet. Size also doesn't matter too much. We're gonna be chopping these into like 1 to 1.5 inch chunks, like bite-sized pieces basically. For cheese, I just have a sharp cheddar. You can get a mild cheddar, you can get an orange cheddar, a white cheddar, whatever cheddar you like, or you can get your hands on will be great. We're just grating it, so it's just whatever tastes good to you. For mayonnaise, I just have a plain mayo, just a store brand. If you have a favorite brand, let us know in the comments. We did a mayo taste test a couple years ago. You can go there if you want to pick a favorite, but for all purposes, anything will work. So here I have hot Peppadews. So these, if you've ever had a pickled cherry pepper, like a hot cherry pepper, it's kind of a similar vein. It has this spicy, sweet contrast that I totally love. If you're making pimento cheese, feel free to branch beyond the pimentos. It won't be as classic, but it'll still be super delicious. So we're gonna be putting water on the stove to come to a boil. We're using about 3 quarts of water for 2 pounds of potatoes. So this is a great excuse to use my giant measuring cup, which I love. Okay, so it seems like measuring water is really exact. The reason that I do it is actually so you can measure the ratio of water to salt. The ratio that I like to keep in mind is 1 quart of water to 1 tablespoon of salt. So that's going to be a highly seasoned water that's great for cooking potatoes, cooking pasta, anything where you don't want to impart too much flavor, but you want the ingredient to be really seasoned throughout. Just do 3 tablespoons. And this will create really tasty potatoes even before we add any other ingredients. So if your potatoes are sticky, like they're so starchy that they're actually sticking to your knife, you can just rinse off your knife every so often, and that'll help you get cleaner cuts. Now that all our potatoes are cut, they are ready to be boiled. I like to put them in a bowl. This just gives you a little bit more control with dumping them into the boiling water. This way you're less likely to end up with burnt arms. And it also acts as kind of a shield. Where should I put my hand? There? Okay, you're still recording. Okay. These are gonna cook for 8 to 10 minutes. Why are you laughing? These are gonna cook for 8 to 10 minutes. So I set the timer for 8 minutes and then we will check them at that point and see if they're knife tender. Our timer just went off, so I am going to fish out a potato and give it a quick check with a paring knife. Okay, so that's easily piercing the potato. Some recipes will say fork tender. I like to do knife tender just because the potatoes are gonna keep cooking after they're out of the pot. So if you go a little bit under where you want them to be, they'll actually end up exactly where you want them to be by the end. So while the potatoes are still warm, we're going to season them. So that's just gonna make a much more flavorful potato salad overall. So I'm gonna spread them out on a sheet pan. This way they'll cool a lot faster and they won't overcook. Woo! The Peppadews or any pickled pepper like this is kind of a 2-for-1 ingredient because you have the peppers, which we're gonna chop up, but you also have all that vinegar. So I'm just going to drain it into a sieve. So we've separated the Peppadews from their vinegar. So I'm gonna take a couple tablespoons of that vinegar and just drizzle it all over the potatoes. And this is just gonna further season them throughout. Just shake them around. And then I'm just gonna do a light sprinkle of salt. So we already seasoned the water really well. but this will just help make sure they're seasoned. Now that they are splashed with the vinegar, they've got a pinch of salt on top, I'm just gonna spread them out as much as I possibly can, and this is gonna help them cool a lot faster. Our Peppadews are draining, we've got our cheese, our mayo, we're all set up to mix the rest of the potato salad while the potatoes are cooling. So I'm just gonna give these a good shake. Oh boy. And these I'm just going to roughly chop them. So you can make this as fine or as coarse as you want. If you have a strong pimento cheese preference, do that. So I'm just going to put this in our bowl. So I'm just going to stir these together. And if a little bit of the brine, the vinegar, clung to the peppers, that's great. It's just gonna make the salad even more balanced. Okay, and now I'm going to add a bit more of that vinegar that we strained out. So I'll just start with maybe like a scant 2 tablespoons, and then from there you can go up or down as needed. So we've used up all of our Peppadew peppers, but we still have this brine. Don't throw that out. Just put it in a jar, stick it in the fridge, and you can use it for future potato salads. You can use it for salad dressings. You can use it to brighten up some sauteed or roasted vegetables. Just see it as a really flavorful vinegar that you got as a bonus from getting these peppers. All right, we are ready to grate the cheese. I have half a pound of cheddar here, sharp cheddar. This is a pretty common size for blocks, so just get 1 package, half a pound, and then grate all of it. This is my favorite part. So now we are going to stir in the cheese to this pepper mayo mixture. So I'm gonna mix this together. So at this point, we essentially have pimento cheese. Not with pimentos, but still exactly that vibe. It's just a super delicious cheese mayo mixture that you could put on crackers, turn into a sandwich. But we are going to turn it into potato salad by adding our boiled potatoes. So these are just barely warm at this point. I can hold them totally comfortably. They're just like a hint. Oh, there's a rabbit. Oh, so cute. What was I talking about? Potatoes? Okay. These are just barely warm at this point, so they're not gonna melt the cheese, but they will absorb those flavors even better than if they were fully cold. So now that these are added in, I'm just gonna gently mix them together. We don't wanna end up with mashed potatoes. And if the mixture seems a little thick, like it could use a bit of loosening, this is where more of our vinegar is gonna come in handy. So I'll just drizzle a little bit to sight. At this point, you can also add more mayo if you want it to be creamier, but this is looking really great to me. Awesome. So at this point, I'm going to grab a fork and I'm gonna taste it for seasoning. I'll just make sure I get some cheese, some peppers. It's really good, but I think I could use a little bit more vinegar. Whereas if you taste it, maybe you think it would need more salt, maybe it needs more mayo. I think tasting at the end of the recipe is always the most important step, because what tastes great to me might not taste great to you, and it's all about personal preference. So at this point, we could eat our potato salad right away, or we could stick it in the fridge, save it for several days, and then use it whenever we want. Our potato salad is all ready, and I am ready to eat it. So we are gonna serve it up. The recipe for pimento cheese potato salad is on Food 52. If you want more recipes like this, let us know what you'd love to see in the comments. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I'll talk to you soon.